And therefore, there is a job of work to be done. The job of work involves trying to get people, children especially, to think a bit critically about the sorts of things that people believe and why they believe them. This is a very, very familiar point. You want to demand of people that they be rational in their beliefs. And what you mean by rational is that there should be a ratio, a proportion, between the grounds that they have for thinking something about the world, the beliefs that they hold, and those beliefs themselves. That if somebody makes a claim about how the world is, that they've got to come up with a robust case, and they should be open to having that case examined. And they should explain to you what would count as confuting or even refuting that case. And if they don't do that, if it's a matter of bare assertion or appeal to tradition or appeal to authority, that can't be good enough. And so that's the job of work that we have to do on the metaphysical front. And it has to be done in a number of different ways, not just by addressing the claims made about the nature of the universe, that it was created by a powerful agency designed on purpose to fulfill certain functions and so on. Not just that, but also by inviting people to think a little bit about the origins and the history of the religions. To look, for example, at how the religions have behaved in history, and to ask whether that stands up to any kind of justifying case for them. It is written somewhere, I forget where, by their fruits ye shall know them. Well, indeed, look at their fruits. Look at how history is panned out under the government of religions. For almost all of human history, of recorded human history at any rate, there have been religious leaders, religious teachers, the influence of religious beliefs in society. And we can ask ourselves quite legitimately the question, how has that been for humankind? Has it on the whole been a successful story? And that's something that we should challenge people to understand, because it's been a very important feature of the way religions have survived, not only that they proselytize young children and adults, parents teach their children the same beliefs that their own cultural tradition treasures, but also because they've obscured facts about the past and reinvented themselves in ways that make them more acceptable to any present time. For example, the Church of England in the 1920s, at one of its synods, abandoned the doctrine of hell. We've seen just in recent years the Vatican apologize for its persecution of Galileo. By the way, the anniversary of the trial of Galileo was just 2 days ago, as you may know. Forgetfulness, amnesia about the past and about how the religions behaved in the past is very useful to them, because they can present themselves now as being positive agencies in our societies, doing charitable work, encouraging people to be kind to one another. They complain bitterly, apologists for religion, that atheists and secularists are aggressive and hostile to them in their criticisms of them. I always say, when people talk about militant secularism, I always say, look, when you guys were in charge, you didn't used to argue with us, you just burnt us at the stake. Now what we're doing is we're presenting you with some arguments and some challenging questions, and you complain. In fact, it was T.H. Huxley, Darwin's bulldog, T.H. Huxley, who in a letter to Darwin said, bishops are like, it was not a very kind remark this, by the way, but perhaps nevertheless true. He said, bishops are like pigs. If you poke one, they all squeal. And this is what's been happening in the last 10 years. Criticism is received as an offense, as an affront, and even rather reasonable people like Rowan Williams, Archbishop of Canterbury, use this phrase, militant secularism. And I've always been surprised by that. I've often wondered, for example, what a fundamentalist atheist is. Fundamentalist atheist. Well, what would a non-fundamentalist atheist be? That's somebody who believes that a part of a God exists, maybe. like a left foot or a buttock of a God. Or that God exists on one day in the week, that's Sunday. That's actually what most Christians think, I think. So, I mean, it's very difficult to accept these charges of fundamentalism and militancy when, of course, one look at the landscape of history shows us what militancy and fundamentalism really does mean.